أكثرهم لا يؤمنون أوكلما عاهدوا عهدا نبذه فريق منهم بل أكثرهم لا يؤمنون ولما جاءهم رسول من عند الله مصدق لما معهم نبذ فريق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب كتاب الله وراء ظهورهم كأنهم لا يعلمون واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمثوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأت بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير أم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل ومن يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى تلك أمانيهم قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Today is the 30th lecture in the continuation of Tafsir Qur'an al-Kareem. Today is 23rd of Rabiul Awwal 1445 after Hijrah of Rasul 1445 after Hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, which is equivalent to the 8th of October 2023 after Christ alayhi salam. We continue with the verse of chapter of Baqarah, chapter 2. Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. And in the recent lecture, we discussed on how Allah Azza wa Jal talked about Banu Israel and He blamed them for an evil act as they did, that any time He had covenant with them, they would promise to fulfill it, but then they break it. أو كلما عاهدوا عهدا نبذه فريق منهم بل أكثرهم لا يؤمنون. Majority of them, they disbelieve. وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ رَسُولٌ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَهُمْ. And when the Prophet come to them, he was confirming the truth of what is in their hands. They throw it away and they rejected it. Now Allah Azza wa Jal is now continuing with telling us some of their future, some of their evil acts. He says, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. And they followed what the shayateen have done during the reign of Solomon. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. And Solomon was not a disbeliever, but the shayateen, they became disbelievers. يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. They were teaching people magic. وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. And what has been revealed to the two angels in Babylon, Harut and Marut. وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. And whenever they are teaching somebody, they would make sure they tell him that we are fitna, we are trials, so do not disbelieve. فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه. And they teach what can be used in separating between man and his wife. وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله. And that can never happen and harm the people unless by the permission of Allah. ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم. And they are teaching or they are learning what is harming them and it is not benefiting them. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. And they are very well aware that what they buy is that they are indirectly losing their hereafter, their enjoyment of the akhirah. من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون. Miserable is what they are buying for themselves if at all they have known. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal is seriously blaming Banu Israel here, that they are following what the shaitans are doing in the reign of Solomon. Now, what were they doing? واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان. Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما, he was saying, Asif Katibu Sulaiman. There was a man called Asif bin Barkaya. He was the one in charge of writing for Sulaiman. He was the scribe of Solomon. أخرجته الشياطين. So the shaitan, the jinn, they took him out of the temple of Solomon. فكتبوا من كل سطرين سحرا وكفروا. So there is no line in the book in his temple, in the temple of Solomon, unless that they wrote the magic in it and they disbelieve. وقالوا هذا الذي كان سليمان يعمل به. And they said this magic is what Solomon was using. فأكفره الجهال. So the ignorant, when they hear that, they also disbelieve in Solomon, that he was only practicing magic. وسبوه. And then they end up insulting him. ووقف علماؤهم. But the knowledgeable ones among them, they did not disbelieve in what the shayateen did. They believed that Solomon did not practice magic. Al-Hasan was saying, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينَ. They followed what the shayateen were doing. And what were they doing at that time? They were teaching poetry. They were teaching magic. They were teaching sihr. They were teaching sorcery. And the Jews followed the magic. So this magic, it did not originate in the reign of Solomon. It has been existing since time immemorial. If you remember in the story of Musa alayhi salam that we did, Musa alayhi salam, during his time, they were expert in magic, and magic was so dominant at that time that Fir'aun la'natullahi alayhi, he saw the miracles of Musa alayhi salam, plenty of them, and then he gathered, he said, "Utuni bi kulli sahirin alim." He gathered worldwide the experts in magic, and they came up and they were able to turn ropes to become snakes. And then they wanted to show up, they wanted to defeat Musa alayhi salam. But Allah Azza wa Jal gave him a miracle that is bigger than their miracle, that bigger than their magic. And then the snake was able to swallow all of what they have come with of their magic. And subhanallah, they realize immediately that this thing, what Musa alayhi salam has brought, has nothing to do with magic. And immediately they fell down, they prostrate to Allah, and they said, Amanna bi Rabbi Musa wa Harun. We believe in the Lord of Moses and Harun. And Fir'aun was telling them, you have to disbelieve in him, otherwise I will cut off. لو قطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم من خلاف ولأصلبنكم أجمعين. He said, I will cut off your hands and I will cut off your legs and I will crucify you. He said, no matter what you are going to do to us, we are not going to disbelieve in the Lord of Moses. As long as Allah will be pleased with us, you can't do us nothing, anything you can do for us. So since then, magic has been existing. And in the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, it also become dominant. And Ibn Abbas was saying, once Solomon lost his power, a huge number of men and women and jinn have disbelief. They turn around, they turn behind, and since Sulaiman is no longer the king, they disbelieve and then they turn away. Shortly after the seat was retrieved, Sulaiman alayhi salam, he snatched all the books from the shayateen, which they were practicing magic and they are learning from it, and he buried them under his throne. And after his death, this shayateen came and they uprooted his throne, and then they pack all these books that of magic under his throne. So they claim that Solomon was in charge of these books. He was the one who was is practicing magic. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed, وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَهُمْ نَبَذَ فَرِيقٌ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ كَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ. So Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed these verses. Since then, many people, they thought that Solomon was practicing magic throughout his life, until when Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed these verses. He said, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ. Solomon did not disbelieve. Solomon did not practice magic. As today was saying, the jinn used to ascend to the heaven to listen to the conversation of between the angels. فيسمعون كلام الملائكة من الموت أو الغيب فيأتون الكهنة ويخبرونهم. The jinn, they used to ascend to the heaven. When they ascend to the heaven, and then they will hear the speech, they will steal the speech of the angels. And that is because whenever Allah Azza is making a command in the heaven, He will make an instruction. And then Jibril will take this wahi, this revelation, and then he will go and tell the angels. And then the angels will go and tell the other angels whatever that Allah Azza wants it to happen on this earth and in the entire universe and worldwide, everywhere. So that is when the that is when the jinn are ascending to the heaven until they hear what the angels are discussing, what is going to happen tomorrow, and then they come and tell the magicians. That is when the magicians will be able to know what will happen tomorrow, and then they mix it up with lies. Whenever they hear one truth, they mix it with seven lies. And then Solomon was sent. When Solomon was sent, then he snatched all these books that they are learning these magics from, and then he buried them in a box under his throne. After his death, the shaitan came to them in the form of man and was telling them, you know what, Suleiman was practicing magic throughout his life, and I will show you evidence. Uproot this throne under him, and then you will definitely see the books that he was practicing magic. And so it happened. They opened the throne, and then they uprooted it, and then they saw many books of magic, and they said these are the books that Solomon was doing. Subhanallah. Mujahid said, he mentioned the same thing, but he said whenever the magicians or the jinn hear these speeches of the angels, they mix it with 200 lies. One truth, they mix it with 200 lies. That is why when you go to magicians, they might be able to tell you what will happen tomorrow. If somebody is dying, they might be able to know it. And then that is what they will be able to tell you. They can't tell you exactly everything that will likely happen tomorrow, but they can tell you some of it. Why? Because they would hear some of it, and then they will not hear some of it. Allah will kick them with meteors. Rabi ibn Anas was saying, إن اليهود سألوا محمد عن أمور من التوراة. The Jews used to ask Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on many things regarding the Torah. لا يسألونه عن شيء من ذلك إلا أنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى ما سألوه عنه فيخصمهم. Nothing, there is nothing that they ask him unless that Allah revealed to them. They reply to it, and then he tell them, and then he argued to them what it has been revealed. فأنزل الله واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان. So then Allah they asked about the issue of Solomon. Then Allah revealed these verses, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينَ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. Sa'id ibn Jubayr was saying, Solomon used to follow the jinn one by one, and then he snatched all their books that they are learning magic from it. يَتَّبِعُ مَا فِي أَيْدِي الشَّيَاطِينَ مِنَ السِّحْرِ فَيَأْخُذَهُ. He used to follow them one by one. Whenever he had a news that so jinn is practicing magic, he has a book, then he would follow him. He would send an army, and then they would go and snatch these books until he gathered a huge number of books of magic, and then he buried them in his temple under his throne. So magic is there since the time of Moses, and even since before then. So the shayateen have been teaching it. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ Qatada says وَمَا كَانَ عَنْ مَشُورَتِهِ وَلَا أَمْرِهِ. Sulaiman was not having any consultants that they were practicing magic or kufr. Ibn Ishaq is saying وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ أي ما عام بالسحر والسحر كفر ما علم السحر والسحر كفر لمن عمل به. Sulaiman never taught magic, and it is he know that this magic is kufr, that whoever practice it. ولكن الشياطين كفروا. Qatada says ولكنه شيء افتعلوه الشياطين أي ابتدعته الكتابة. It is something that the shayateen have originated. The shayateen are the ones that wrote these books of magic. Al-Hasan says ولكن الشياطين كفروا أي إتباع السحر كفر وليس من دين سليمان السحر. Following magic is kufr, and in the religion of Solomon there was nothing like magic. يعلمون الناس السحر. Ibn Abbas says الصحف التي دفنوها. In that book, so they have compiled these magics, ways of this magic in their books, and then Solomon snatched it. We have explained how Rasulullah Sallam is the one who explained that these jinn, they are ascending to the heaven until when they go, they hear the speech of the angels, and that is when they will know what is going to happen in the future, and then they come to the earth and they tell magicians. That is when the magicians will be able to know what is happening tomorrow. Now, why is magic shirk? Because man is seeking help of other than Allah. So he says, let me do magic before marriage to save my marriage from marrying the wrong person. Subhanallah. There are things like sickness, things like dangers, things like accident. No one has the power to save but Allah. So once you request anything that no one can be able to do it except Allah from any of his creator or its creation, then it is become shirk. That is why magic is becoming shirk. So Sufyan ibn Ammar al-Duhani, he was saying there was a magician called Walid bin Uqbah. He would enter the anus of donkey and then he would come out through its mouth. He was very expert in magic. This happened after Rasulullah with many years. So Jundab cut him into two, and subhanallah, Rasulullah already left a prophecy about him. He says, يكون رجل في أمتي يقال له جندب يضرب ضربة بالسيف يفرق بين الحق والباطل. Rasulullah is saying there will be a man called Jundab in my nation. He will come after me. He is called Jundab. He is going to cut off with his saif, with his weapon. He will differentiate with it between the truth and falsehood. This is recorded by Abdurrazak in his Musannaf, this number 18,748. وما أنزل على الملكين. Imam Qurtubi says ما هنا للنفي. So the Mufassirun here differed. Some of them believe that ما هنا للنفي, it is negating. It is saying that ما أنزل على الملكين. This magic was not revealed by the angels. لم ينزل الله السحر. Ibn Abbas is saying Allah did not reveal this magic in the hands of the angels. وما أنزل على الملكين أي ما أنزل الله السحر على جبريل وميكائيل. Atiyah is saying Allah did not reveal this magic in the hands of Jibril and Mikael. It is not Jibril that come with magic. It is not Mikael that came with magic. Abdurrazak bin Abza used to read it as وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ. Whenever he comes here, he will say وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ. Ali also says they are two angels. وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلْ. Babil is Babylon. Ali radiallahu anhu was saying إن حبيبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهاني أن أصلي ببابل فإنها ملعونة. My friend Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, he forbids me from praying in Babylon. He said, this town, this land is cursed. Subhanallah. And this is reason because magic was dominant in those days. Harut and Marut. Harut wa Marut. Abi Ja'far bin Ali was saying, Sijil is an angel, and Harut and Marut were his helpers. They were his aids. Ibn Abbas is saying the angels used to be surprised on how people are doing evil. You know, when Adam alayhi salam, he was created, Allah Azza wa Jal told him, I am going to place my representative on the earth. So when he told them that, the angels were surprised. He said, how can you, O Allah, create and creation on the face of the earth, and then he will end up doing corruption? Here are we glorifying you. You don't need to create those that will do evil. Allah Azza wa Jal told them, Inni alam ma la ta'lamun. Then Allah Azza wa Jal wanted to test them. He said, bring me two among you. I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Perhaps you'll understand. And then they choose Harut and Marut. When they choose Harut and Marut, the Allah Azza wa Jal created in them the desire that He created people with it. Because people have desire of women, they have the desire to do sin, they have desire of doing immoralities. But the angels, they are not doing evil because they have no desire for that. So Allah Azza wa Jal placed this desire in the heart of these angels, and He brought them down to this dunya. And then in Babylon, they saw a beautiful woman when they arrived. When they saw this beautiful woman, they approached her, and then she gave them the condition that if you want to fall in love with me and you want me to do the same thing to you, then you have to ascribe a partner to Allah, and you have to drink this alcohol. And then when they did that, they drank the alcohol, and while in intoxication, they killed a baby, and then they did zina with her. Subhanallah. So Mujahid says, I was with Ibn Umar on a journey. He sees a star, and then he was narrating to us. He said, La marhaban biha, wa la ahlan wa la hayah Allah. He saw a star and he was saying, I'm not welcoming this star. May Allah not prolong its life. And then he narrated the story. He said, there were two angels. They were surprised at how comes children of Adam are able to do sin. And then Allah Azza wa Jal tested them. He brought them to this dunya, and He put the interest as exactly as how people are having this interest, and then uh, they ended up falling in love with a woman, beautiful woman, and then she gave them the condition that they have to enter her religion, as she was Majus. And then they and then she also gave them the condition that they have to ascend to her to the sky. She wants to see what is happening in the sky. Let them take her. And then when they took her up to the sky, they did it, and Allah snatched her in the sky. اختطفت منها وقطعت أجنحتها. And they started repenting, and then the story continues. وما يعلمان من أحد. Ibn Abbas says, علم الخير والشر والكفر والإيمان فعرف أن السحر كفر. They know the right, they know the kufr, they know the faith, they know everything, and they know that magic is kufr. حتى يقول إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر. قتادة says كان أخذ عليهما ألا يعلم أحد حتى يقول إنما نحن بلاء ابتلينا به فلا تكفر. Whenever they are teaching people this magic, they will say, you know, this thing is wrong. It is a trial, so do not disbelieve. فيتعلمون منهما. Ibn Abbas says, الملكان يعلمون الناس فرقة. They teach people how to separate between man and his wife. As Surah says, the angels know that. But when the people know it, it is sihr. So there are stars in the heaven. Allah Azza wa Jal has taught the angels how to identify these stars and to know what to do, their meaning, their movement. So the angels are known for doing that. But once people study it and they involve in this knowledge, then and they practice it, it becomes sihr, it becomes magic. So to them it is not lawful. To them it is lawful, but to human beings it is unlawful. ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه قتال يمسك كل واحد منهما أو صاحبه ويبغضه. They used to teach people how a man could separate with his wife. So for instance, when they want to separate a marriage, they for instance come to the woman and for instance cut off one of her veins, and then blood continues flowing through her vagina, and for that reason she will not be her husband will not have the desire to come approach her, or it will cause her to be smelling although that the husband will dislike it, and then or maybe they will cause her to exhibit some evil manners in such a way that the husband will hate her, and then she will divorce her. All these ones, the jinn and the shayateen are able to do it. وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله. Al-Hasan says من شاء الله سلطهم عليه ومن لم يشاء الله لم يسلط. Whoever Allah wishes is whom that the magic is going to work upon him. ويستطيعون ضرا ولا يستطيعون ضرا ولا يستطيعون ضر أحدا إلا بإذن الله. And even if they practice the magic in order to harm somebody or to separate him with his wife, it cannot happen unless with the permission of Allah. Sufyan Thuri says, إلا بقضاء الله وما هم بضارين به إلا بإذن الله أي بقضاء الله. It cannot happen unless if Allah destined it to happen. ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم. And they are teaching something that is harming them and has no benefit to them. Ibn Abbas says whenever someone comes to learn this magic, Harut and Marut used to refuse to teach him. Nahayahu ashaddu nahi. They will forbid him. They will tell him, look, this thing is seriously wrong. And then if people insist that they still want to learn, and that is when they will point to one shaitan, and then the shaitan will go and teach them. But it's not the Harut and Marut that they are teaching. It is the shayateen that they are teaching. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. The people, Qatada says, the people of book, they know they bought their akhirah because they read in their books that magic is haram, it is kufr. They know that. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ لَمْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ مِنْ خِلَاقٍ. As they says, min nasibin. They know that in the akhirah they will not have Jannah. They know that whoever practice magic, when it comes to akhirah, Allah will be angry with them. He knows about it. وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِأَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. It is talking about Yahud, that miserable is what they buy for themselves, if at all they are aware. So look at this verse. Allah is saying, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. These Banu Israel, they follow what the shayateen have invented in the reign of Solomon. وَمَا كَفَرُ Sulaiman. Sulaiman did not practice this kufr, this magic. Sulaiman did not practice this magic. وَمَا كَفَرُ Sulaiman وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. So it is the shayateen, the jinn are the ones that are practicing this magic, and they were teaching people this magic. وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلْ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. And this magic was not revealed to these Harut and Marut, these angels. And if we take the other interpretation, it was revealed by these angels. وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. And whenever somebody comes to learn this magic, they used to tell him, look, this is evil. And if people still insist that they want to learn, then they tell them, go to that jinn or to that shaitan, he will teach you. فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَفَرِّقُونَ بِينَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. So they could be able to teach people magic of how to separate between someone and his wife. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Even though if they practice this magic, it will not happen unless if Allah give the permission. وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنفَعُهُمْ وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَا اشْتَرَوْا مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. And So now we have discussed in the hadith authentic that how these jinn are able to know what will happen is that they would ascend to the heaven and then they will go out to the earth. And when they go out of the earth, they ascend and then they would hear the speeches of these angels. Now, today, we have advancement in technology that we are able to ascend to the heaven. So, now, what are these jinn able to do when they ascend? Even though another interpretation to it is that they are these angels, when they came, they have taught people that the movement of stars, for instance, we have the Mars, we have the Jupiter, we have Venus, each one of them, for instance, the day that somebody is born, how they used to teach people that the day that somebody is born, at that time, you will see that the position of the planets, for instance, the Venus or the Jupiter, when they form a symbol in the position of how they are on that very day, it is having a strong relationship with the horoscope of somebody. That is why whenever they want to know something about somebody, they will ask about his horoscope. They will first confirm it. When is he born? And then they will try to find out the symbol of that star at that day, and then they will be able to know what is going to happen. So for instance, they have about 12 horoscope. They have the Aries, they have the Taurus, they have the Gemini, they have Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Capricorn. Each one has a symbol. Like Libra has the symbol of justice, and there is the one with symbol of scorpion. Each one of them, whenever somebody is getting married, for instance, they will say what is his horoscope. They will ask about his horoscope, and when they find out, they will check about his partner, and then they will tell you, can Aries marry a Leo? They will say yes. The combination is unbearable character. Subhanallah. Today is saying al-malaikatu فيما بينهم إذا علمته الإنس فصنع وعمل به كان سحرا. The angels, Allah has already taught them how this movement of the stars have their meanings. So to them it is not magic, but to us, because it is not our job, that is why it become magic. We are encouraged to do righteousness and to be patient with our spouses. We don't need to use our horoscope to understand what is going to happen in the future, because once we do that, we are going to, because that will not give you the full information of what is going to happen in the future, and then it is mixed up with lies. Only about 1% of it will be known exactly. That is why there is no way somebody can tell you exactly 100% of what is going to happen in the future. They can only tell you part of it. Why? Because that is the part of knowledge that we're having. So the movement of the stars, Allah is saying, whoever studied it with the intention of knowing what will happen in the future, then it is kufr. That is why astronomy is dangerous. Astronomy is part of the knowledge that Allah has blamed those who are practicing it in order to know what will happen in the future. Even though the symbol of these stars have relation with what is going to happen in the future, but still Allah has forbidden us, because these are knowledge that will not benefit you. وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم. When you know your future, it will only harm you, and then it will not have any benefit to you. And another thing is, once you don't know the person that you are going to, you don't know the marriage that you are going to, that will give you courage to do righteousness so that you will have peaceful living and marriage. So you don't need any magician to tell you about your marriage. Yes, of course, these stars and these planets are orbiting the earth, and all of them have meanings. Allah knows the reason why He places them and then the angels are the ones that are responsible in doing that. So we are going to continue with these verses. There are many fawaid and many masail concerning this verse, as mentioned by Imam al-Qurtubi and Ibn Kathir also. Inshallah, next week we are going to mention some of them and the masail that are related to this verse. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب